Hey, hello, I'm JulieJo. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today, we are going to watch an Arbonne video. If you don't know, that was the MLM I was in. I was qualified for the top 2% before I left. What's so interesting about Arbonne is they don't publicly post their trainings. It's very, very rare that they do. Not like a lot of these other MLMs, and that's why I haven't covered them as much. But I have found some, finally, and if you find some and want me to react, just send them my way in an email. You can upload it to your Google Drive and share it with my email. It's IamJulieJo@gmail.com. You can also find that in the description. So y'all are about to experience some of the things that I watched in Arbonne, this being one of them, and this person also, I've watched her train many times. Her name is Ashley Strong, and she's a national vice president with Arbonne. Really quick, before we get started, I looked at my analytics recently and saw that 40% of the people who watch my video are not subscribed. So if you could go ahead and subscribe before we continue, like the video if you want to or if you enjoy it. The number of subscribers kind of tells me that my videos are reaching people and that it's making an impact on them. So while I'm not obsessed, I do use that number as kind of an idea of how my videos are doing, of course, as well as the views watched and what people are saying about the video. I use it to kind of see, is my content reaching people? And if so, is it making an impact on those people where they want to subscribe and watch more of it? And yeah, that's kind of how I see that, so feel free to do it if you want. Don't forget, I do have an affiliate to Liquid IV. Summer's coming, it's getting hotter, and Liquid IV, it does help with hydration. I love it. I have an affiliate link that you could use down below in my description. All you have to do is click it and you get 20% off. Feel free to use it if you'd like. Now let's get started.
I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin. Cause we're still sleeping in my head. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin. Cause we're still sleeping in my head.
I will be playing this on 1.25 speed, just to speed it up a little bit, but it's not a very long video. But she says a whole lot of nothing, in my opinion. I have only watched the first few minutes, but watching the first few minutes, it's like a bunch of word salad, a bunch of phrases and random letters thrown at you. It's a lot. To start, just before we begin, I see this training as very word salad, overwhelming, in your face, kind of like the speed that it goes and the way that she does it, where she's not even really taking a breath, at least the first few minutes that I saw. And to me, that is a very big thought-stopping way to do it. Like, instead of allowing people to stop, think, digest, she doesn't. At least, again, from what I saw in the first few minutes. And this person in particular, I remember being a lot like that. Just very overwhelming, very much word salad, very much, oh my gosh, this sounds great, but like in reality, it means nothing. So just a heads up. Let's get started.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Strong. I'm a national vice president and an independent consultant with Arbonne International. I want to welcome you to week 4 of our level up training. And hopefully, if y'all are already at this point of your training, you've started to take some inventory of how things are going so far, what you've accomplished, and also you've taken inventory of some of the things that you know that you need to get stronger at. But regardless of what's happened so far, I've got a great truth for you. And it's this: where you are right now has nothing at all to do with your ability or your inability. But I bet you it has to do with how you value, how you invest, and how you have been prioritizing your time. And so through this training, what I want to do is I want to teach you how to be the engineer of your time, right? Not the enemy of it. And so when it comes to all things time management, y'all, the reason I'm qualified to speak on this is because I have failed over and over and over until I finally started to get it right. And I'm excited to share with y'all how to break the cycle of being busy and create the cycle of being productive. And so we're going to get right into it, managing our time wisely. And so you guys, this is going to be 2 steps that if you truly implement and you truly take serious and you stay consistent with, it can totally change your business because it's going to change your time and it's going to change the energy that you use for it. And so step 1.
Let's remember that you could do everything just like Ashley Strong. You could do everything better than Ashley Strong and still not be successful because it's not made for the majority of people to be successful. And by it, I mean the MLM business model. It works when only 1% is being successful.
Is have a plan. And y'all, it sounds so simple, but it's so important and it's so underused because having a plan is the first domino that starts to knock over and create that ripple effect. And here's what I mean. This is how your plan ties into your paycheck. And so, or your commission check, right? So when your plan changes, so will your purpose. And then when your purpose starts to change, so will your priorities. When your priorities start to change, so will your productivity. When your productivity changes, so will the type of people that you have been attracting. When the right people change, your business, then your pay will also begin to change. And so,
do you see what I mean with this word salad? Like, just because your plan changes doesn't mean your purpose changes. You could have the same purpose. My purpose when I was working at this church was to help people, but my purpose now as working in the hospital is to help people. It's just the perfect example of a word salad. Also, I recently found out she has me blocked, which I guess I shouldn't be that surprised, but like, girl, I'm so glad you heard about me. Hey, I hope you're doing well. Now let's continue to debunk the rest of your BS.
What planning is, to me, is planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it, bringing that future into the right now and acting on it. So I'll give y'all an example of how this all plays out. For example, right, my plan right now, my current goal that I'm working towards, my plan is to earn the AIT trip to Cancun. And so my purpose behind earning the trip is because I've been taking a lot of time away from my family, working my full-time, active duty, 60 plus hours a week job and building my Arbonne business. And so my purpose behind the trip is being able to thank them for how much time I've been spending away. Since I want to earn the trip, that's the plan, to thank my family, the purpose, I then start to align my priorities. And so I have to prioritize what I'm saying yes to, what I'm saying no to, and what I'm saying not now to. And so one of the tips that I'll give y'all for me that's helped me so much the entire time I've been building this business has been alongside being full-time active duty Air Force and working crazy demanding hours.
I personally believe she is someone who definitely goes after and manipulates people, especially young women who are in the military. So yikes for you, Ashley.
When I am prioritizing, I'm asking myself, is this activity advancing my purpose? Is this activity in line with my purpose? And I use a 3B check, what I call it 3B. If this is not growing my belief, my business, or my bank account, it's a no for me.
Belief, business, or bank account. So you're telling me that your belief, you're not around people who don't support your Arbonne business? Because like, they probably don't grow your belief in Arbonne, right? So I'm looking at this as someone who's been in Arbonne and kind of knows what they mean when they say these things: belief, business, and bank account. So people who aren't supporting your Arbonne business are doing none of those three, right? They're not supporting your belief or helping your belief, your business, or your bank account. So you're automatically, and this is something I saw, and of course, in my opinion, I watched them push in Arbonne, was to completely X out people who are not supporting you. They are no longer your friend. They don't support your business. They definitely don't support you. You know, they're no longer like a close family member. They're nothing. They want you to push those people out because they don't want someone talking in your ear and helping you think through these things that are not the best idea, like joining an MLM in the first place. So in my opinion, that's what she means by belief, business, and bank account. Don't be around people who aren't supporting or helping you increase those three things, which is so weird. Why would you want to be around someone that is 110 billion% and absolutely agrees with everything that you do and say? My best friend Aaron and I, while we're a lot alike, we're not even near 100% alike. That is wild to me. And how could you even grow as a person when you're around the same people who believe everything you believe every single day? There is so much wrong with it. And what it does is it cuts people off from the people who love them, the people who support them, and it also cuts out people who don't need them for monetary purposes. Like Ashley, she needs people in her downline because that's how she makes her money. She needs them to support. She needs people around her who support her, believe in her 100%, and give her money. So what she's pushing, again, is the idea that you don't need anyone around you who doesn't do these three things to help you build, right? If they don't build your belief, your business, or bank account, they're out, which instantly cuts you off from people who care about you not just because you make them money, who care about you in spite of you not making them any money, right? There's no monetary thing for them to gain other than the fact they love you and you're their friend, you're their family member. They care about you. These people, it's different. It is about the money.
And so we don't want to spend the time chasing the money, but if we chase the problem, then the money is going to follow. And so what are those priorities, right? Your priorities are going to be the MIT, the most important thing. So every morning when I'm waking up, what's my MIT? What's my MIT today? What activity can I do right now today that's going to get me closer to that goal? And once I've named my priorities, again, example for me personally, for my priorities for earning AIT, enrolling 3 new consultants direct, 5 new preferred clients per month, holding a minimum of 8 events per month, and speaking in front of a minimum of 40 faces. Those are my priorities. Those priorities are then going to influence that productivity, right? Which is going to get me in front of the right people, which is going to grow my pay. And so, y'all, a specific plan of what you're working towards right now is.
She said, which is going to grow my pay. Yes, that is exactly why she's doing any of this, is for the pay that she gets. I can assure you that the majority of them, from what I experienced, are doing this because of pay, right? Especially the top leaders. Some people at the bottom, like in any MLM, don't know. Like, they don't get it. They think it is for the community. They think it is for owning a business, which, by the way, you don't in MLM. But in reality, it's all about the pay.
It's key to help you manage your time. The work comes before the perk. And so we're going to jump right into number 2, because this is where this comes in. And I'm going to give y'all, some of y'all, like a heart attack when I say number 2, and you're going to be like, oh, no, she did not. No, she did not just ask me to do that. Number 2 is stop using to-do list and start using a calendar instead. And I know some of us are in love. We're married to our to-do list. We love writing that thing out. We like to doodle right there beside it. We like to draw, asterisks and hearts and butterflies and rainbows or whatever by our most important ones that we think. But do y'all think that Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, do you think that they have a to-do list? I'm going to venture to say no.
What? I'm sorry. What? You mean Elon Musk, the person whose dad owned a gem mine and was already wealthy before Elon Musk became wealthy, and then pretty much got wealthy off the backs of other people? You mean the one that started wealthy? Listen, I could go on about Elon, but I'm going to throw that in the trash and forget about it right now, because we got some stuff to talk about with this. Look at this. Look, hourly, wake up, gym, clean, study, mock exam, rest, film. This is literally my to-do list. This was for Monday the 27th, and I haven't done, I have Tuesday set, 29th set, and then I also have over here what I'm going over, the adrenals and the GI tract, all the way up to I think almost my day I took my exam, which, by the way, I passed. Yes, Tuesday. Covered the pathology in the morning and then exam. Look at that. She would hate me. I passed, which I already said, but I'm just that excited. And I'm telling you, that is the way that I work the best. And if that's the way you work the best, great, do that. If it's not, then don't do it. If you work best with just a to-do list, no hourly, that's great. But she's giving advice and tries to sound important and like she knows what she's talking about. But in reality, I think sometimes they just come up with stuff that works for them and then act like it should be the be-all end-all for everyone. And they have to make a training, so they might as well just use it in their training. Anyway, let's continue.
Here's some of the issues with the to-do list. How many items on your to-do list have been there for 3 weeks or more? Like, probably a lot of them, right? Like, maybe you have color coordinate my closet. That's a dream list for when you've got all the time in the world when you hit that goal. So transfer that to another list and get it off your to-do list. Y'all, not only is the to-do list killing your productivity because you're spending the time rewriting it list after list, but you're also not getting that mental gratification of seeing something to completion.
What? That's literally what the to-do list is for. Marking off that thing, boom, so good. It's so nice. Ashley, what are you saying?
Or even worse, and I know that some of y'all have done this, and I have been so guilty of this in the past. Have y'all ever wrote something on your to-do list that you've already done just to get the satisfaction of marking it off? Like, can we get a show of hands? Yes, you have. And so what it is y'all, that's our brain telling us, I desire productivity. I am capable of productivity. So stop cheating yourself. Science actually says that 40% of items on your to-do list don't get done. And so think about that. Think of everything that you're doing being income producing activity. 40% of IPA not being done. How is that impacting your bottom line, right?
40% of IPA income producing activity. To-do lists are things in general that you need to get done that day. Also, I need the source for the 40%. Yes, please. But you think that a calendar of like, oh, I need to do this month is going to help? I have to plan out to the hour what I'm doing for my brain to work well and to stay organized, which that might sound wild to y'all, but for real, I even marked, look, it even says day off, like the whole day. I'm just going to do whatever I want. But this is wild to me because most teams have something called an IPA, which is an income producing activity to-do list where you like fill it in, right? Like to do, people you've talked to, pages of book you read or something like that. I used to have one. And for her to make this seem like it's the be all end all is just almost laughable to me. And now that I look back watching this, I feel like, first off, I watch her train a lot in particular, but also I know that she's talked about how good to-do lists are and how they're important and stuff. I really feel like I have. At least other national vice presidents have talked about it. So it's really interesting that she's coming at it this way.
So this to-do list makes you focus on the urgent and not the important. So how are we going to get rid of the to-do list? First,
sorry to freeze so quickly. It makes you focus on the important, not the urgent, or the urgent, not the important. What did she say? Either way. Huh? It makes you focus on the urgent, not the important. I have that hourly to-do, day-to-day type of thing. And I also have a big calendar where I put like birthday, test day, go out. I don't know what I put on there, but I put stuff on there because that helps me see the bigger picture of like what my month is going to look like. But then I do this as well because it helps me for my daily stuff. Girl, just because it works for you doesn't mean it works for everybody else. But here's the thing with people in Arbonne like her. They teach it as though it's supposed to work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, you're the problem. You're the failure.
First, we're gonna grab that pretty to-do list, whatever it looks like. It's probably sitting right beside you if you're at your desk or something. We're gonna give it a goodbye kiss. Thank you. We had a good run. And then we're going to rip that sucker up and we're going to throw it away. And we're never going to think about it ever again. And so now insert your calendar. Now, y'all, we're going to start breaking the calendar down. It doesn't really matter what planner you prefer. I personally love like an appointment book style that breaks it down into the minutes, but you find one that works for you. If you like the appointment book, shoot me a message. I'll send you one that I absolutely love. But once you get that appointment book, the planner, the free printout from online, it doesn't matter what you use. It matters if you use it intentionally, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to start time blocking the things that you absolutely know that you have to do. So for example, some ideas for you to go ahead and time block. And I like to do this a month at a time. And then once a week, I'll have a recurring appointment on my calendar for about 15 minutes that says sync schedule for next week. And I'll go through, I'll change anything that has been adjusted. If something's been canceled, if something's been rescheduled, double booked, whatever it is. So all right, time blocking. You're going to take all of the days for the rest of this month. And if you have a job, what are those hours?
But that's also a to-do list, but just marked with time. Let me show you an example. Wake up, study, mock, edit. Very vague, right? Very vague. I mean, you only have one little line to write on. To-do list, adrenal and GI tract for the study section. It helps me know what I need to do. I already know the mock exam. I don't need to put that. And I know to edit the video that I filmed the day before. What am I studying today? Adrenal and GI tract. On my to-do list. This is giving me weird vibes.
For example, this is just like something to think about. If you work 7 to 5, are you, no kidding, 100% working from 7 to 5 with zero break? Most of us are getting a lunch break or we're getting a little personal time or whatever. And so time block the time that you actually have to work. And then if you have a lunch break that could be free, leave that open. Of course, yes, you're going to eat your lunch, but that could be some time that you work your business. And so,
oh, wait, it clicked. It clicked. I see what she's doing. She's furthering the ability to manipulate their time without even having to try to do it herself, without having to tell them what to do. She's like, here, you got, look, you have a little free time right here. Don't mark it for lunch, right? Because if you got that little free time, you know what you could do? Run your business. You could work your business in that time. In my opinion, this is another way for her to manipulate the situation, right? To manipulate their time to try to get them to work without her being micromanaging. Does that make sense? Let me know your thoughts below.
Put the job hours in. If you're still working full time, if you have non-negotiable family time, medical appointments, whatever it is, color those in. Then think, what are some of the things that I need to do for my own mental health, right? Is it reading? Is it exercising? Is it meditation? Whatever that is for you, schedule that time in with a time block, but be real. Like, if you're not going to read for an hour without any interruptions, don't put an hour of reading on there. Put 10 minutes or 10 pages or whatever that looks like. And then you block your sleep time. And now what you're going to do after you've blocked off all of those things that you absolutely have to be committed to because life, right? And then you're going to look at all of that white space that you have left. And some of y'all might be saying, oh my gosh, I actually have a lot more white space than I thought I did. Some of y'all might be saying, I don't really have that much white space, but I want you to think about this. Even if every day you only have an hour, even like cumulatively, you only have an hour, y'all, that compounds to almost a full-time job in a month. That's 30, 31 hours. And so if you feel like there isn't a lot of blank space, you got to start looking at where are some of the areas that you can sacrifice. I'll tell you straight up, for me, it meant that I had to wake up earlier. I already wasn't getting a whole lot of sleep, but waking up earlier, it adds up, right? And so waking just 15 minutes earlier a day, that's 91.25 hours a year. And so
that's not very much. 15 minutes. What are you going to do at 6:15 in the morning? 15 minutes of work? MLM is not 15 minutes of work. That is weird. That is weird. And then she's like, fill in your non-negotiable time. And then she was like, just a second ago, maybe you got to make time. These are my non-negotiables. So maybe I'm just not able to work this business without losing my mind.
So the majority of this time that you're going to have free during the week, it might be little nooks and crannies. It might be 15 minutes here. It might be 30 minutes here. But listen, like I say this in truth, but in love, I want y'all to hear me so loud and clear on this. You will not nook your way to nation. Like you will not nook your way to nation. There will absolutely have to be bulks of sacrifice. There will have to be things that you give up to go up. Maybe it's your weekends like it is for me. Maybe it's taking a day of paid leave if you can, if you have that opportunity off of work. Maybe it's selling 3 nutrition kits to pay a babysitter to watch your kid for a day so that you can have 8 hours of uninterrupted time. Whatever it is, y'all, I'll tell you, so many times I'm on a flight on Friday afternoon when I get off of work and I'm flying to my team. I'm doing presentations, events all day on Saturday, and then I'm catching the first flight back on Sunday morning, coming back to my family, and I'm right back to work on Monday.
This is one of the reasons that multi-level marketing companies ruin your mental health, as it did for me. I was working like her every single day, most of the day. If I wasn't actively like messaging people, talking to people on the phone calls, on Zooms, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about Arbonne all day long. That's what they push. They single-handedly, and Ashley, you do this. You ruin people's mental health. You do, because you take things away from them that they need, like rest, downtime, to do things that make them happy and not just business, business, business. You say, do it on, do it on that hour you have free. That's a nook, that's a cranny. But then you say, you're not going to get to MVP doing that though. So make sure your entire weekend is covered with it. I'm sorry, what? How could you flip-flop so quickly? It's so wild for me to watch this back and go, but wait a minute. You just said this and now you're saying that? So you're like, oh, here, you can make some time. But you're going to want to actually make a lot more time than that, because without it, you're not going to succeed. Even with that time, they likely won't succeed.
And so you've got to figure out what it is that you can adjust, right? And y'all, when you're adjusting your time, when you're making these sacrifices, because it is going to be a short-term sacrifice, but it's going to be long-term payoff. These sacrifices, and it's not to do all the things. Like this isn't to organize your office. This isn't to color coordinate your fizz, right? It's like this is to do income producing activity, and that's sharing, selling, enrolling. You have got to master the monotony of those 3. You have to master the monotony and keep it very simple, because when you do less, the things that you do, you prioritize better. And so focus on those 3 B's and prioritize and share, sell, enroll, share, sell, enroll, rinse, repeat. If it doesn't grow your belief, your business, or your bank account, maybe it's a no right now. Okay, so we've got our free space on our calendar. Now it's time to start booking. And so a trick to these things that you put in your calendar, your non-negotiables, right, is to treat them like appointments and don't cancel. But also the things that you book your calendar with for income producing activity, you treat them like appointments and you don't cancel.
Y'all, I don't care if it's an appointment. I usually cancel it because of my anxiety. I'll like set the appointment like 3 different times, and then when it gets close to it, like a day before or like the day of, I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it today because of my anxiety. So appointment or not, I'll probably cancel it.
You hold yourself to them. And so, for example, people ask me this a lot. Well, what if somebody's hosting and then they cancel on me? Like I didn't cancel it, they did. Ask them first to reschedule. Say, okay, Sally, Friday does not work for you. We can do this Monday afternoon. How does that look for you? Immediately go to the option to reschedule, not to cancel. But y'all, if they absolutely won't, right, you can't control that. You can control what you do. Your first intent is going to be rebooking with someone else ASAP. And so we've got our white space, right? We're looking at that. Here's the thing. If you have, say, a 1-hour block, you can schedule a 45-minute party right then. 45 minutes, have a quick open house, have a cookie dough party, have a masks and mimosas, whatever it looks like. Hey, it's going to be 45 minutes. Stop by before dinner, stop by after dinner, whatever it is. Book that 45-minute time of intentional income producing activity. If you have a 30-minute space, y'all do a 15-minute Facebook pop-up party. We have an incredible script for it. They work. Facebook parties are not dead, regardless of what any sites are going to tell you. And then on your big stretches where you've got 4 hours or more, book it, and try to go back to back, because you get in that mode, you get in that momentum, you've got that energy. Y'all, when I was going nation, I would have business hours every Saturday, 9 to 5. That's my business hours. It was like, I'm working my 5 days a week. I'm working on the evenings on my Arbonne business. And then guess what? Saturday, I'm working all day Arbonne. And so, yes, I would reserve my family time. Absolutely. But again, it's some short-term sacrifice for now. Between those hours of 9 to 5, I'd be at a local Starbucks for one-on-ones, or I'd be at my house. I'd be at my sponsor, Sarah Handy's house. Like, it didn't matter. Wherever somebody would give me some real estate to be able to perform an event, I was having an event, y'all. I'd be meeting people at Panera Bread because
this is something that they push so hard in Arbonne, and I know that they do it in other MLMs. This idea of short-term sacrifice. Think of it every day. Go hard for 2 years. For 2 years, just give up time with your family and your friends. For 2 years, say no to the date Friday night with your husband. For 2 years, and then you will never have to say no again. That's what they push. That's what they tell you over and over and over. So that's what I thought. For a year and a half, I did that. I said no to everything, almost everything. And I pushed and pushed and pushed. I lost most of my friends. I ignored my family. I spent my first year with Riley not really hanging out with him. That really was what breaks my heart. Because they push this short-term sacrifice and then they add long-term gain after it. She didn't, but they usually add long-term gain. That's the kind of things that they teach you to do. And those are the kind of things that ruin your life. Because short-term sacrifice isn't just your time. It's your money, it's your mental health, it's your self-care, it's things that you love to do. So not only are you not spending time with people that you love, you're also spending all your money. You aren't doing anything that brings you joy necessarily. It's horrific. It's sad. It's awful. It's hard. And I know sometimes people joke about, oh, MLMs, these Huns, like, why are they doing this? Why? Because they're promised. They're promised that the short-term sacrifice is so worth it. And I was in such a deep, dark place that I was hoping it would come true. And I know a lot of people who join these MLMs, people that Ashley likes to manipulate, that they're vulnerable and they need this. If this worked for them, it would completely change their life. They need it. The reality is, you're not going to change your life, for the better at least. A lot of times you're just making your upline more money, that's it. It's really sad, and this idea that if you just sacrifice for a couple of years short term, you're going to have so much more in the long run. It's a lie. It's a lie, and many people don't see it as that because these people are very charismatic.
It's free. Like, I didn't have to pay for a spot. And so it didn't matter, but every single minute of that time was accounted for. And the thing is we all have the same 1,440 minutes in each day. Time is the great equalizer. We've all got the same. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your size, your color, socioeconomic background. We've all got the same 1,440 minutes in a day. It's just the way that we use them. And I'll tell y'all, because I have done every single one of this.
That's giving me major Molly, what's her name? That's giving me major Molly May vibes. You know, when she was like, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. I've read this before. It's a Cosmopolitan thing where it says, we don't all have the same 24 hours. But I understand why some people believe it. I'll just read one section and I'll try to remember to link it below. I think everyone should read the entire thing. But they talk about what Molly May said was, you have the same 24 hours as Beyonce. But before we go any further, I'm reading it now. We also need to acknowledge that likes of Beyonce and co. have teams of chefs, trainers, nannies, assistants, drivers, and managers, ultimately freeing up a lot more of those 24 hours, which can be spent on trying to achieve their career goals. And yet, even with that truth in mind, the work hard and you'll succeed mantra persists, when really, it's a myth that those in power want us to cling to. Can a single working class mother of 3 grafting away in a low-paid job to support her family really achieve as much in a day as someone born into a well-off family who can afford to work in a part-time job? Who has better social connection and has been educated in a more favorable school? Can someone who is trying to keep their head above water with minimal opportunities in a small town really be compared to someone who has exactly the same dreams but for whom money has never been an issue? What if you have unconscious bias and racial gaslighting to contend with? As writer Evie Muir puts it, I have the same 24 hours as Beyonce, but I spent most of them advocating for my own mental health against ableist, racist workplaces who make me cry and give me panic attacks. We are not the same. When you ask those questions, the answer seems obvious. So this idea that you all have the same 24 hours in a day, you do, but you don't have the same opportunity. Just because everyone has 24 hours in one day doesn't mean they have the same opportunities. So like I said, we all have the same 24 hours, but not everyone has the same opportunities.
In just 1 minute, You can write a thank you note. You can send a reach out text. You can introduce yourself to a stranger. You can book an appointment. You can ask for a referral. You can make a smoothie video. You can post a boomerang with your fizz. You can mail a sample. You can send a Discover Art Bond to a prospect. You can do a follow-up. You can do a Facebook Live. You can make a new connection on Instagram. You can send a voice message to a friend, asking them to take a look at the business. You can ask somebody to host for you. You can send a recommended cart. And if you did all of those things, you would have just spent 15 minutes working your business. 15 minutes. That's the 15 minutes that you can wake up earlier and bam, look at all the stuff that you can do for your business. Y'all, it's just about being intentional with those minutes, right? It's intentionality. It's not the time management. It's the intention management. And then just some freebie kind of tips of other ways that you can squeeze a little time here and there. Again, you will not nook your way to nation, but this is just a little thing that you can do here and there, right? Some other freebies: turn off the TV, like turn it off. I mean, y'all, let's be honest, there ain't nothing but crap on TV these days anyways. There's no QV in TV. Set that sucker to record. If you have a show that you're just so in love with and you just absolutely cannot give it up, set it to record and use it as an incentive if you have to. Like, when I do this, when I do my income producing activity a day, then I will reward myself with my TV show, whatever it takes. Take your phone to the bathroom. We're in there anyways. We're spending a lot of time in there sometimes, so make it worth it. We usually take our phone anyways. We're just mindlessly scrolling. So go in there with intention. I'll go in there and I'll go, all right, from the time it takes me to do one and maybe two, depending on, what's going on, I'm sending 5 messages. I'm sending 5 messages out before I get off this commode. If you're at like family gatherings or you're at things that maybe you've committed to, do the same thing. Excuse yourself to the bathroom and set a goal. I'm going to send 20 texts in 5 minutes, and then put your phone down and be present at your event. I text while I'm at the gym and I'm on a bike or a treadmill. I text when I'm in waiting rooms for a doctor's appointment, my kid's appointment, any type of appointment. Y'all, I'm texting or working. When I say text, I'm saying working, sending reach outs, whatever, while I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm drying my hair. As much as possible, I ask someone else to drive, like driving Miss Daisy. And so that
That sounds like the most exhausting thing you can do. You never ever stop working. You put your phone down for a little bit while you're at the family thing. No, you worked at the family thing. If someone messaged you back, what, are you going to wait till after the family thing? No, you are always working. And no matter how hard you work, you likely aren't going to be successful. So all this work that you're doing, by the way, this work you're not getting paid for. It's only when someone purchases something, or when someone purchases something from your downline. That's why they want you to have a downline. That's why they want a bigger downline, because anytime someone purchases from them, they're making you money. But you are not getting paid for all this work that you're doing. You're not. Unless there's a purchase, right? So could you imagine doing this for 5 days, for like 8 hours a day, and not one purchase was made? Or 2 people bought 30 Days Healthy Living Kit from you and you made $100, even though you worked 8 hours a day for 5 days and that's all you got? Because that's the reality. And what, you spent $350 on the kit, so you haven't even made your $350 back. You just made $100. So you're still negative $250. Yeah, that's the reality of it.
I could be working from my phone. If I'm at a hair appointment, if I'm at a nail appointment, I'm working my business. And here's another tip. You can text at midnight if you have to, but there's a trick to this. So what you do is you set your phone to airplane mode, send the messages out, and then you take it off of airplane mode when you actually want them to send. And so anytime I'm on a plane, if I'm flying, I do this too. And then the biggest tip that I can give you that's going to save some of your time is say no when people ask you to go somewhere that you don't want to go, or do something that you don't want to do. And no is a complete sentence. And so you don't have to go, oh gosh, Tammy, thank you so much. I'd love to, but my dog has got a toothache and I'm going to take him to the vet, and the vet's across the street, and I got to go here. And this one's around town, and my uncle's cousin's friend's sister is going to call. Like, we don't have to do all that, right? You can say no, or you can say something like, this one is the kind way that works for me is, I'm going for a huge goal right now, and unfortunately that's not directly in line, so please keep me in mind for next time. But y'all, know is a complete sentence. It's one word. It's going to give you a ton of your time back, though. It's a very powerful word. And so it is true that time flies, but it is also true that you are the pilot, and you are in charge of the trip itinerary. You are in charge of the direction. You are in charge of the route. You are in charge of the speed. And so,
but a lot of people are not fortunate enough to do that. They don't have the ability to be in charge of their time. They have to do things. They have to work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, because without it, then they won't be able to feed their kids. So no, not everyone's in charge.
You've got to get very specific about what you allow your time to be spent on, right? And so I'm going to give you guys an example. This was so crazy to look back at because it's such a blur. But when I was going nation, I pulled my calendar out and I was looking at it with Ro, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So this is one of my actual days, and many, many days looked this way. But this is my typical schedule going nation. 3:45 a.m. Wake up, pee, put on my gym clothes that I laid out the night before. From 4 to 5 a.m., I'm working out, meditating, doing my stretch. From 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., that's my power hour of reach outs. From 6 a.m. to 7, I'm getting dressed and I'm driving into work. While I'm headed there, I'm listening to an Audible or a podcast. I'm filling my head with professional development. From 7 to 11:30, work. That's non-negotiable. That's red time. It's untouchable. But from 11:30 to 12:30, that's my lunch break. And so on this day, an example of my lunch break was I went to McAllister's to eat lunch, and I was actually talking to the cashier about the 30-day challenge, added her on Facebook, and then I sent her a video of me doing a healthy happy hour. And then I went across a couple blocks down and I dropped off a skincare set to a waitress from another restaurant that we had talked to probably about a week earlier. And then I read my 10 pages. And so that was my actual lunch break. Grab me a little salad from McAllister's, talk to the cashier about the 30-day. There's no script for that. This is just having conversation, and then drop off a skincare sample to a waitress, read my 10 pages of personal development. Back to work, 12:30 to 6 o'clock, work, uninterrupted time. I'm working my full-time job. 6 to 7, time with my husband, time with my son. 7 to 8 is dinner. And here's a tip: cook enough for multiple days so that you're free tomorrow. And so I'd cook maybe twice a week at best. 8 to 9, virtual Discover Arbonne and a FaceTime with 3 prospects. From 9 to 10 p.m., I was answering team boxers, sending a minimum of 5 new reach outs via text or Facebook or Instagram. And then 10 to 10:30, getting my clothes, my food, and my uniform ready for the morning. 10:30, head hits the pillow, and 3:45, right back at it. And y'all, that's not easy. That's not like a sustainable long term, but this is a season. This is a season, right? And so 4 weeks of this series have already passed. And if you're not where you wanted to be, you can still make it happen. That's the great news. Like I said, the bad news is
that, I don't know about y'all, but that sounds like hell to me. That sounds horrible. I mean, she's making 6 digits a month, 5, 6 digits a month from Arbonne. So I guess for her putting in that work makes sense. I mean, but imagine her saying you should do that, and yet you're making $0. You're actually in the negatives. That is not okay. I expect someone like her to add 2 hours of Arbonne in her life a day because she's a national vice president. But a district manager, that's not worth it. You're making a few $100 a year, not including stuff you purchase, which means you're in the negatives. Even for a regional vice president, that's likely not worth it.
Time flies. The good news is we're the freaking pilot. We get to choose how our time is used. And if we're being so honest, typically the times that we complain the most about our lack of time, it's actually when we're the worst at using it. And so if you guys are doing takeaways from this call, I want you to be bold, and I want you to also send this to your VP. I want you to say, the real reason I didn't hit my last month's goals is blank, and tell them the real reason. And if you did hit it, how are you going to make them even bigger this month? And then tell them, this month I will do blank better. And so when it comes to the time management, let's marry the time that we input and divorce the timing, which is the outcome. The timing isn't in our hands, but the work is. Y'all, we've got 3 months left of this year, and I think that we've also got 3 choices. That's move forward, move backwards, or remain stuck. And I'll tell you right now, if you've been procrastinating, procrastination is a habit. It's a habit. So that means it can be broken. It can be changed. You can be set free. And I heard this quote about procrastination, and it's one of my favorite reminders. Procrastination is the very arrogant assumption that God will give you another chance to do something that you were called to do today. Whoo! If that don't hit you in the gut and get you wanting to move and groove, I don't know what will. But y'all, you didn't hear about, you didn't join, you didn't have a vision of what Arbonne could do for you by happenstance, right? All the people that are going to see this call, all the people that are going to see the recording, do you think it's really just a weird coincidence for all of us? I don't, and you won't persuade me otherwise, because we are postured to explode in this next quarter. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want to start next year being up in the nosebleed seats and watching all of the rock stars that decided to go for it, being out on that field, playing the game of their lives. You don't want that seat. It's not going to be a good view for you.
This was September of 2022. So just like 5 months ago or something, or 6 months ago, not very long ago. This is when this was posted on YouTube. I'm like 99% sure Arbonne has declined in the last few years. She said that they're postured to explode in this next quarter. That's a lie. That's just a thing people say, like her, to keep the downline moving forward and having some hope, because Arbonne, and from what I've noticed, from what I've seen, especially like looking at my previous upline and all of that, it has not exploded. It's actually like gone down, like most MLMs, right?
And so get to it. Let's start getting after it, right? Let's start being the engineers of our time and not the enemy. And I want to close with y'all with sharing this poem. My mama used to share this with me all the time. And one of the things that she'd always say is, Ashley, if you want to change the world, you better start today, sister. And this poem is called There's No Time Like the Present. And it goes like this. There's no time like the present. Tomorrow is far away. And what is in our hands to do, God bids us to do today. Be ready in this hour to do a helpful deed and never let a chance go by to meet another's need. Don't wait until tomorrow. For those who wait may miss the grandest chance in all their life, and that's too much to risk. The opportunities we pray for, God gives at our request, and he who never squanders one is he who lives the best. I love y'all. I'm proud of you. I believe in you, and I know that you're here for a reason. Let's get after it. Sacrifice for a season, because I promise you it is 100% worth it, and the best is truly yet to come. Y'all have an awesome.
Okay, that's that. So that brought me back to a place that I never wanted to be brought back to. But that was a lot of what the trainings were like, honestly. Just not like, they take no breaths. It's very, usually, at least with Ashley Strong and some like her, word salad, very overwhelming, very much like write down like the big trigger words that they put intention on and move on. I think that a lot of this stuff that she talked about was a way to manipulate her team without having to micromanage, as I said earlier. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what stuck out to you watching this, and maybe you saw something that I didn't or wanted to point out something that I never mentioned. I would love to read that below. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Show you what I'm all about. Make up for what we lost. Tonight is the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about yours.